Hello everyone, welcome to the topic idioms and phrases. In the previous class, we have discussed some idioms and phrases. We have also discussed what is an idiom, what is a phrase, and what are the differences between idiom and phrase. And what is an idiom? It's a group of words established by usage, and the meaning of the idiom cannot be known by just looking at the idiom, the words. But when it comes to a phrase, it is also a group of words. They stand together as a conceptual unit and they can be understood easily. To understand an idiom, the cultural background is needed. For the native speaker, idiom comes naturally, but we have to learn as a second language learners of English. And a phrase, everyone, by looking at the words of the phrase, we can understand what a phrase is. We have also given so many examples, and we talked about Achilles heel, which is an idiom, which means a fatal weakness in spite of overall strength. And for phrases, also several phrases we did, and once in a blue moon we have given as an example, which means very rarely. Now today let us see some more idioms and phrases. Kick the bucket. It is used informally. If someone dies, then we use this informally. The native speakers use this. His grandfather kicked the bucket last month. It is used when someone dies of illness or someone dies of old age. So his grandfather kicked the bucket last month means his grandfather died in last month. Next one. Gift of the gab. Gift of the gab means the ability to speak fluently. For example, Vani has the gift of the gab in English. That means she can speak English fluently. And to look blue. To look blue means be depressed or sad. She looked blue after the death of her son. So she is depressed and she became sad due to the death of her son. That's the meaning. A fool's errand. A foolish undertaking or an unprofitable mission. Example, his treasure hunt ended up being a fool's errand. Some people thinking that there will be treasures somewhere in old temples, in forest, in caves like that, they take that activity. But finally, some people don't get anything out of it. So, it's said as a fool's errand. That means a foolish undertaking. The next one, fair play. Fair play means conformity to established rules. That means deciding according to the rules, whatever rules are there, following the rules. The audience insisted on fair play. Sometimes when cricket matches or any games are playing on, the umpire will be there. Sometimes when the audience feel that it is not fair, then they insist on fair play. To end in smoke means to come to nothing, no use of it, no concrete or positive result is there for this. All his efforts of getting a job end in smoke. That means finally he didn't get any job. He tried for several jobs but he didn't get any job. That is the meaning of ending in smoke. Next, to cut a sorry figure means to make an impression that causes oneself to be regarded unfavorably by others, to be ashamed. So to create a situation where everybody will be unfavorable to us. Because of our own actions, everybody will become like that. For example, he cuts a sorry figure in his maiden speech. As he could not speak well, he made several mistakes. he felt ashamed because everybody was unfavorable to him. And own accord means voluntarily by one's own choice. Sandhya joined NCC on her own accord. That means she voluntarily, willingly joined NCC. Nobody insisted her. Okay. And one more example, he joined the army on his own accord. Even in army in India, people join voluntarily only. In other countries, in some other countries, where dictatorship is there some compulsion will be there on the youth to join in army. To flag a dead horse. Waste one's efforts in an activity which is of no use. There is no use of flogging a dead horse. In the same way, whatever effort we do, there won't be any use of it. Persuading her to continue the job is flogging a dead horse. So she decided to resign the job. So even if you persuade her, there is no use. There is a meaning. He is flogging a dead horse in his land by using artificial fertilizers. Recently we know because of artificial fertilizers, the crops are not growing. So by using artificial fertilizers, he is flogging a dead horse, means he is not getting any, he is doing an activity which is of no use. Next, Good Samaritan. A person who voluntarily offers help or sympathy in times of trouble. A good Samaritan is a person who voluntarily comes and donates something, helps others, even if nobody asks them. A good Samaritan offered face masks to the poor. Nowadays, these are very much necessary to control corona. So, everybody, generally poor people who don't have money with them, they mainly think of food and other things, not about face masks, etc. So a good Samaritan offered them face masks. Next, monkey business. Monkey business means a silly and stupid or time wasting activity. Generally think monkeys are silly and stupid. So this came. Mother warned her son not to indulge in monkey business. That means not to do stupid things. That's the meaning. Now, below the belt. Below the belt. Mean and unfairly target at one's weakness. This is coined from a game where they should not hit below the belt. Her comments hit him below the belt. That means they targeted him. Her comments targeted him. So they hit him. And we have our own example of Duryodhana in Mahabharata. When Bhima wanted to fight with him at the end of the battle, because everybody died and Duryodhana was there and inside the water, and Bhima called him and they fought. But Duryodhana could not be defeated by Bhima, because it's like as Achilles has a story, Duryodhana also has a story, because his weakness is his thighs. Only thigh parts can be, they are weak, so they can be hurt, not the remaining part of his body due to his mother's touch. So Bhima hit him below the belt on the thighs and Duryodhana died. So it is actually unfair. Below the belt. And in deep water. In deep water means getting into serious trouble. Getting into serious trouble. People are in deep water due to loss of jobs, especially nowadays due to this corona pandemic. Everywhere people are not coming out to buy things. So in every shop, so many people are losing jobs. So they are in serious troubles to get on with the daily life. Everybody needs food, at least essentials, medicine, food, like that. And to steal a march, to steal a march, gain an advantage over somebody by doing something secretly. Gain an advantage over somebody by doing something secretly. That means gaining advantage. The company stole a march on its rivals. Generally, companies always want to win over their rivals. So the company stole a march on its rivals by practicing secretly something to win over them. Pulled a long face to get angry. Pull a long face means getting angry. He pulled a long face when his mother scolded him. Generally, this happens in case of children when mothers or teachers scolds them. Then the children become angry. To curry favor. Try to gain somebody's favor by flattery. Generally, it is said in Telugu, పొగడ్తకులొంగని వారు ఉండరు. So, people like very much of flattery. So, however strict they might be, if they are praised by somebody, they were flattered by somebody, generally, they can get get their favor. She is famous for currying favor with her superiors. So some people are very much trained in that wherever they go, they curry the favor with their superiors. Burn one's fingers. Burn one's fingers. Suffer as a result of foolish behavior. He burned his fingers in the stock market. So if he invested all his money in stock market, what happens? Sometimes it results in loss. So it is burning one's fingers. Now, flesh and blood. The human body or human nature is said to be flesh and blood. The customer in flesh and blood, not just sales statistics. That means we should not think customer as a sales statistic, but he is really a flesh and blood. So, break the ice. To do or say something that makes people who don't know each other feel more comfortable. Generally, the ice breaking. Yeah, we did in our classes ice breaking. When you join in the college and when you meet on the first day in our English class, what do? We break the ice saying introduce yourself by making you into groups, and you yourself introduce to each other, and finally you introduce yourself to the whole class. So like that you break the ice, you introduce yourself and you will become familiar with others. I tried to break the ice by talking to the person next to me about weather. So we have to talk to others on anything. We can't talk about personal things when we don't know others. So I tried to break the ice by talking to the person next to me about weather. Next, make hay. Make hay means making good use of an opportunity. When an opportunity comes, we should make use of it. The political party made hay out of the issue. Generally, whenever there are problems in society, political parties take an advantage of them. Above board. Above board means legitimate, honest, and open. The judgment was all above the board. So the judgment is very honest, very open. It's a good judgment. Add insult to injury. That means to make a bad situation worse. Already the situation is bad and making that into worse. It is hurting the feelings of, first hurting the feelings of a person and doing harm to him, both. Two things. He fell at the beginning of the race, and insult to injury he became in last. So he participated in a running race, and before the race itself he fell down, and finally he came last. So the injury was added to insult. And one more example, his harsh words added insult to injury to the penniless beggar. The beggar is penniless, he is hungry and he doesn't have any money. And somebody came and he didn't give any money, but he spoke very harshly to the person. So his harsh words added insult to injury to the penniless beggar. Generally, if we can, we should help others. If not, we should be silent. No, we should not speak harshly. Next, in the air. In the air means uncertain and undecided. Our plans are still in the air. So they are not still decided. That's the meaning. Apples and oranges. Invalid comparison, as the two are so different. We can compare apples, two apples, which is better, two oranges, which is better, like that. We cannot compare entirely two different things, apple or orange. How can we compare? Both are different. To compare India with North Korea is comparing apples and oranges. So it's under dictatorship and India is in democracy. So it's very different. Both are two different things, different countries. Small fry. Small fry means people that are thought to be unimportant by others. The police have only caught the small fry when there is a case, especially the criminal cases. Generally, the big people like politicians and the rich people may be involved in that, but police generally caught the small ones instead of the big ones. So the unimportant people, there is police caught the small fry. He is a small fry in the company. That means he is not in the important position. He is in the unimportant position. In a nutshell, have you seen nut? Ground nut, badam nut, cashew nut, all these nuts. They are very small. Okay. And when you break it, you get a nut which has, that means nowadays during this corona period, everybody is advising to take nuts because it is full of useful things to body. Badam nuts, cashew nuts, ground nuts, all these. Omega-3 fatty acids it contains. These nuts are very good for health. And the mother told the story of Ramayana in a nutshell. Actually, nutshell means saying something in a few words. A long story in a short way. To make a long story short. My mother told the story of Ramayana in a nutshell. If we have to say the Ramayana as Valmiki has written, it is a big book, but we can say the story within 10 minutes. In a nutshell. The teacher summarized the lesson in a nutshell. Of the cuffs, make a remark without previous thought or preparation. Sometimes people speak without any preparation. It is called as off the cuffs. The manager has said a few words off the cuff. Eat humble pie. To admit oneself as wrong and be apologetic. So when someone does anything wrong and it was identified, then they will admit they're wrong and they'll be apologetic. When his deception was revealed, he had to eat the humble pie. Fish in troubled water. Try to take advantage of a confused situation. When a fish is in troubled water, anyone can catch it. So, in the same way, when people are in confusing states, others may take advantage. There's a meaning. The money lender is fishing in troubled water to earn money. So, generally, when poor people want money, even when they don't have money to eat, then money lenders may give money for more interest. Between the devil and the deep sea, it is a situation where there are two equally unacceptable alternatives. Here, the equally unacceptable alternatives. You see, the devil, it's dangerous. Whether it is there or not, we don't know, but we feel it dangerous. And deep sea, when you go to deep sea, can you come out? It's also very dangerous. So, for example, trying to please both his boss and his wife puts him between the devil and the deep sea. For a person, he has to please the boss where he works, and also if he wants to please his wife, the situation is like between the devil and the deep sea. Cold blooded murder, we say, na? So purposefully, ruthlessly, in very unfeeling manner, if any murder or anything wrong is done, then we call it cold blood. The whole family was murdered in cold blood. That means it's not accidentally done, it is wantedly done. Wantedly, they wanted to kill these people. To eat one's words. Forced to admit that oneself is wrong about something. For example, the murderer ate his words in the court as his crime was proved. So, as his crime was proved with witnesses, then he had to admit and agree that he has done that murder. And the next one, up in arms. Up in arms means angry, rebellious. People of Hong Kong were up in arms against China's controversial law. Recently, China got a controversial law on Hong Kong people, so they came into streets and they were up in arms. They were angry and rebellious. Have one foot in the grave. Be near to death through old age or illness. My grandfather has one foot in the grave, so he is near to death. And all Greek to me. All Greek to me means we don't know Greek language. It's ancient language, no? We don't know Greek. But if anybody speaks in Greek, can we understand? We can't. So we cannot comprehend it. In the same way, if anybody says something, if we can't understand, then we say that it is beyond my comprehension. I don't understand. Whenever he said is all Greek to me. Whatever he said is all Greek to me. When some people speak, we can't understand anything. So that's the meaning. Beat a dead horse or flagging a dead horse. So what does it mean? An useless effort. A useless effort. He is beating a dead horse by arguing with him. That means arguing with him is a waste thing. It is nothing but like beating a dead horse. What is the use of beating a dead horse? Already the horse is dead. Okay. And beating around the bush, not coming to the point directly. She always beats around the bush. When some people are asked to speak on a particular topic, they don't come directly into the topic. They beat around the bush. By the time they come into the topic, almost 10-20 minutes will be over. Sometimes some people, if they want to say something, they won't say directly. They say several things and finally they come to the point. So that is nothing but beating a dead horse, beating a beating around the bush. Cock and bull story. This we use as generally. Don't tell cock and bull stories, no? We say a story which is not true. Okay. He always tells cock and bull stories to his boss for asking leave. So some people, whenever they want any personal benefit, and they say lies like cock and bull stories also. They say that somebody died, somebody is ill, like that. And come hell or high water, in spite of difficulties. Come hell or high water means in spite of difficulties. Sudha became a great dancer, come hell or high water. So here Sudha means Sudha Chandran, who became a great dancer even though she lost one of her legs. With so much perseverance and practice, she became. So it is in spite of difficulties. She became a great dancer. Come hell or high water means in spite of difficulties. And from rags to riches. That means go from being very poor to becoming very rich. Today, Mukesh Ambani is the richest person in India. And his father, Dhirubhai Ambani, he started his business as an ordinary man. He grew as a grew into a great businessman. So Dhirubhai Ambani's journey was from rags to riches. Next, haste makes waste. Proceeding too quickly can spoil at enterprise. Sometimes people are very quickly they want they hurry up to do things, but sometimes it makes waste. It spoils the entire enterprise. And that's why one more proverb is there: slow and steady wins the race. So we should think over before doing. We should not be so much hurry. His haste in submitting his project made waste because he could not do the project well. So it became waste. And thorn in the flesh. Thorn in the flesh means a constant source of irritation. Terrorism is a thorn in the flesh of the world. No? There is no use of it. It is a constant source of irritation to the entire world. Next, actions speak louder than words. Actions speak louder than words. Whatever people say, generally we don't believe in their words, but whatever they do, we have to believe. People can be judged better by what they do than by what they say. Even though people like Sister Nivedita, Mother Teresa, they don't talk much, but their own actions reveal us what they are. Her actions speak louder than her words. Apple of someone's eye. Apple of someone's eye means the person that someone loves most of all. Krishna is the apple of his mother's eye. That means Krishna is loved very much by his mother. Ball is in your court means it's up to you to make the next decision or step. Generally in games, when the ball is on the court, generally in which court it is, they have to throw the ball. No? In the same way, ball is in your court means you have to take the next decision or step. The ball is in the court of people in controlling COVID-19 now. There is no one to control us except ourselves. So we have to control COVID-19 by wearing masks, such precautions such as wearing masks and not going out and being careful and using sanitizer and all these things. So ball is in our court. Cold shoulder. A show of intentional unfriendliness. Sometimes even if we want to talk to others, they show cold shoulder. Example, now China is getting cold shoulder from many countries all over the world. Why? Because even if it wants to be friendly with other countries, because of its deceiving nature, everybody is showing a cold shoulder. Cast an arm and a leg. costs an arm and a leg. When something is very expensive, it is said that it costs an arm and a leg. And corona treatment in private hospitals cost an arm and leg. Why this phrase has come means during the world wars, the army, the soldiers used to lose their arms as well as legs for the sake of country. So this idiom came, this phrase came, cost an arm and leg. Grease someone's palm. Grease someone's palm means bribing someone for a favor. Sometimes in offices, unless we bribe them, we can't get our things done. Unless you grease the officers' palms, you can't get your work done. Such is the situation in many offices. And cut corners. Cutting corners means doing something to save time or money. Unnecessary things we may cut. Whenever we need money, we are in dire need of money, then we do all these things, cutting corners. Or whenever we in dire need of time also. Due to salary reduction, we had to cut the corners by avoiding tours. Previously, we used to go to tours, but now we avoided due to the salary reductions. We have to cut the corners. We have to save money and as well as time. Itchy palm. Itchy palm means greed for money. The trader is known for his itchy palm, means he is very greedy. He wants to gain more money. Now from A to Z. Already we thought of from omega, the Greek alphabet we talked about. And now from A to Z. That means covering complete range comprehensively. We have covered the topics from A to Z, means completed everything. Hear it on the grapevine. Hear it on the grapevine means to hear a rumor about something or someone. Generally, we don't know whether it is true or not, but it is a rumor. We heard the news of her illness on the grapevine. So many rumors are spreading nowadays, even social media, that that person got corona, this person got corona. Unless and until we know it personally, we don't know. They are considered as hearing on the grapevine only. And on the ball. On the ball means aware and understands the situation well. Aware and understand the situation well. India is on the ball in its border security. So it's aware of what is going on. What's the situation there. Once in a blue moon. Already we know that very rarely. She visits temples very rarely. That means she doesn't go to temple often. Spill the beans. Spill the beans means reveal someone's secret unintentionally. When you spill the beans, you know what is inside it. In the same way, revealing someone's secrets unintentionally. The best of both worlds. The best of both worlds. This world as well as the other world. That means all the advantages. Generally, people do things either for this world or for the other world. Either for getting merit to go to heaven or somewhere, or living happily in this world. So she has the best of both worlds, as she has a good job and a wonderful family. Some people have a job and may not be peaceful at home, and some people are a good family but they may not have a good job. But she has both a job and a family, wonderful family and a good job. So she is the best. She has the best of the both worlds. Next, put the wool over other people's eyes. Put the wool over other people's eyes. It's nothing but deceiving someone. If you put the wool over other people's eyes, they can't see you, like that. He always tries to put the wool over other people's eyes. So that person can't see your real nature. That's the meaning. So you can deceive him. The last straw. The final problem in a series of problems. If there are several problems for a person and finally one problem is there, that's called his last straw. Losing job was the last straw in his life. He had lost several things and finally he lost his job also. There's nothing to lose now. That's the thing. Next, crying out. Crying out means to speak in a loud voice or to make a loud sound because of pain, fear, surprise, etc. The victims are crying out for justice. Generally, the victims speak in a loud voice or they shout with pain for justice. And keep up. Keep up means move or progress at the same rate as someone or something else. Usha could not keep up with Meena while walking. So Meena walks fast and Usha can't walk, so she could not keep up while walking with Meena. Next, clamp down. Clamp down means suppress or prevent something in a harsh manner. Generally, terrorism, Naxalism, all anti-socialism, all these things should be suppressed by the police. No, that's their duty. They should not encourage them. So the police have clamped down the drug dealers, even these drug dealers. They sell drugs and makes people addicted to them and they gain money, but what happens to people? Youth especially, they are spoiled. And fit in. Fit in means be in harmony. Be in harmony. If our dates fit in, we can go on a trip. So if you and I both are free on a certain date, then we can plan to go on a trip. Not in this corona time, but after that. Next, Herculean task. What is Herculean task means? A very difficult task. Very difficult task. I think you have heard Hercules. Generally, he is depicted as he's bearing the entire world on his back. Hercules. He is a Greek god. At present, it is believed that he is living in Olympus along with his father and other gods and goddesses. His father was Zeus. As we previously said, Zeus was the father of Helen and Zeus was the father of also this Hercules. And with the earthly wife, Alcmene. But Hera is Zeus's wife. She is a goddess and she got very much jealousy of this boy. So she wanted to kill him by sending 2 snakes. But the little boy, he killed those snakes. He was very strong. And after that, knowing that this boy killed the 2 snakes, she asked to perform 12 labors. 12 labors are imposed by her. Unless and until he does them, he cannot enter the heaven. That's in Olympus mountain. The Greeks believed that heaven is there in the Olympus mountain and there only all the gods and goddesses stay. But Hercules is very, very strong in both body and mind and he performed all the labors and finally he could reach Olympus and live along with the Zeus and other gods and goddesses. So Herculean task means a tough or difficult task is said to be Herculean task. Be in hot water. Be in hot water means got himself into trouble. Ravi found himself in hot water over his post on COVID-19. Now it is very dangerous thing to post on COVID-19. Sometimes we may not know what is true and what is false. If we forward all those things, then we will get ourselves into trouble. So we should be careful. Like a fish out of water. When fish is got out of water, what happens? It cannot live. It's a very difficult situation. So getting into trouble. Like a fish out of water means getting into trouble. After losing his job, he was like a fish out of water. So it's difficult to exist. Lock, stock and barrel means completely, totally. Lock, stock and barrel means completely and totally. He sold the business lock, stock and barrel. There's nothing left. Everything was sold. That's the meaning. At an arm's length. Avoiding intimacy or close contact. She always keeps him at an arm's length means she doesn't move closely with him. Okay? She avoids him. So this is the meaning of at an arm's length, avoiding intimacy. And be out in force. Be out in force means present in large numbers. So the protester turned out in force. Generally, recently the protesters against the cruelty against the blacks, George Floyd's incident in America, the protesters turned out in force. Within a stone's throw, that means at a short distance, at a short distance. Our school is within a stone's throw to our home, that means very near. By word of mouth means orally. Sometimes the news is spread orally. Sometimes we see on TV, sometimes in newspapers. Sometimes we get the news orally. That means somebody tells us. The news of his death spread by word of mouth. The news of his death spread by word of mouth, orally. Call the shots. Be in charge of, in control. The government called off the shots to control the pandemic. So, government took the charge to control the pandemic situation now. Feathering his own nest means making money unfairly. The new officer is feathering his own nest. Some officers are very corrupt and they try to feather their own nests instead of doing any service to society. In the flesh means in physical body form. They saw PM in the flesh. They saw the Prime Minister in the flesh. Not his photo or in a digital platform anywhere, but face to face in the flesh. So this is about the idioms. In the class, what did we talk about? We discussed what are idioms and what are phrases and what are the differences between idioms and phrases. And we also learned about how to use idioms and phrases in context. That means with examples. So what is an idiom? Idiom is a group of words established by usage. It's used by the native people who share the culture. Here, who share the English culture. So the meaning of the idiom cannot be understood from those individual words. By looking at the words, we can't understand. They have fixed meaning. It is related to the culture. And for example, Herculean task. Herculean task means a difficult task. It is based upon the story of Hercules. How he completed all the labors of all the 12 labors imposed by Hera, goddess. And what is a phrase? It's a group of words that stand together as a unit and can be easily understood. It's also a group of words, but it can be easily understood by looking at the words. It has no any connotative meaning. It has the direct meaning. Whereas an idiom, it has a connotative meaning. It's like a figure of speech. Here by example, by word of mouth means orally. By the words itself, we can deduce the meaning. So with this, we complete and the lesson idioms and phrases. Have a nice day. Try to practice them in your speech. Now and then you use them so that you can become a good speaker. And you can, even in exams, you get marks. That's different. And all the best. Thank you very much for your patient listening.